Whispering autumn woods. A gentle sleep story for calm. You carry the weight of the day with you. Perhaps you don't even notice it anymore. This invisible burden that has accumulated over hours of decisions made, conversations navigated, tasks completed and still waiting. It sits in the space between your shoulder blades, a gentle, persistent pressure. It lives in the small furrow that has formed between your eyebrows without your permission. It hides in the tension of your jaw, the tightness in your chest, the shallow quality of your breath that has become so familiar you've forgotten what it feels like to breathe deeply and freely. The day has asked much of you. It always does. The morning arrived with its demands before you were fully ready to meet them. The afternoon stretched on, each hour requiring your attention, your focus, your energy. And now, as evening settles around you, you find yourself here, at this moment, seeking something that the hours have not been able to provide. You seek rest. You seek peace. You seek the kind of quiet that does not just fill your ears, but settles into your bones and reminds you what it means to simply be, without the constant effort of doing. There is a place for this kind of peace. It exists not in the world of schedules and obligations, but in the space between breaths, in the pause before sleep, in the liminal realm where consciousness begins to soften and release its firm grip on reality. And there is another place too, one that you can reach not through miles of travel, but through the gentle journey inward through imagination and intention and the willingness to let go of where you are and allow yourself to arrive somewhere else entirely. Picture yourself standing at the edge of a forest. Not just any forest, but one draped in the full glory of autumn. The air here is different from the air you've been breathing all day. It carries a coolness that speaks of the seasons turning, a crispness that makes you want to fill your lungs completely, to breathe in this new atmosphere and let it work its quiet magic on your tired system. The temperature has dropped just enough to be noticeable, to remind you that the world is always changing, always moving through its cycles, and that you too are part of these natural rhythms whether you remember it or not. Behind you lies everything you've been carrying. The obligations wait there, patient and familiar. They will still be there when you return. But ahead of you stretches something different, something that asks nothing of you except your presence. The woods stand before you like a threshold, like an invitation written in the language of rustling leaves and dappled light. You don't need permission to cross into this space. You don't need to earn your way into this sanctuary. It is yours for the entering, yours for the simple act of taking that first step forward. And so you do. You step toward the forest, toward the promise of something your body remembers even if your mind has forgotten. You step toward restoration, toward the kind of peace that cannot be manufactured or forced, but can only be found in the patient embrace of the natural world. You step toward the possibility of rest, real rest, the kind that begins not when you close your eyes, but when you finally give yourself permission to let go of everything you've been holding so tightly. The world you're leaving behind grows quieter with each step. The forest doesn't announce itself with fanfare. It welcomes you with subtlety, with gradual shifts that your senses pick up one at a time. First, the light changes. The harsh brightness of open sky softens as you approach the outer trees. Their branches reach overhead like the arched ceiling of an ancient cathedral, and the sunlight that filters through them takes on a golden quality, warm and gentle and forgiving. This light doesn't demand anything from you. It doesn't illuminate in order to expose or judge. It simply bathes everything in its glow, including you, including your tired shoulders and your weary mind, and your heart that has been working so hard to keep everything running smoothly. The sounds begin to shift too. The mechanical noises that form the constant backdrop of modern life start to fade. Car engines and air conditioning units and the buzz of electronics all grow distant, as if they belong to another world entirely, one that you're slowly leaving behind. In their place come sounds that your ancestors would have recognized, sounds that human ears evolved to hear over millions of years. The whisper of wind moving through countless leaves, the soft creak of branches swaying, the distant call of a bird settling in for evening. These sounds don't jar or startle, they soothe. They create a kind of auditory cushion that your nervous system recognizes as safe, as welcoming, as home. You're close enough now to smell the forest. The scent reaches you before you've even entered the tree line, carried on that cool autumn breeze. It's a complex aroma, layered and rich, nothing like the artificial fragrances that fill so much of your daily life. This is the smell of earth and life and the eternal cycle of growth and decay that powers everything. It's the scent of fallen leaves beginning their slow return to soil. It's the woody perfume of bark and sap. It's the slight dampness of ground that doesn't bake under direct sun, but instead maintains its moisture, nurturing the intricate web of roots and organisms that live beneath the surface. This smell speaks to something deep in your brain, something primal that remembers forests as places of safety and provision, places where your kind once found shelter and sustenance. Your feet reach the actual boundary now, the place where grass ends and the forest floor begins. You pause here for just a moment, standing with one foot still in the world you know, and one foot ready to enter this different realm. There's something ceremonial about this pause, even though you're not thinking about ceremony. Your body knows what you're doing. You're making a transition. You're crossing from one state into another. You're giving yourself permission to step away from all that you've been carrying and enter a space where the rules are different, where the demands are different, where you can simply be without the weight of expectation pressing down on you. And so you cross. You take that step, and then another, and suddenly you're inside the forest, surrounded by trees, enclosed in this living green and gold sanctuary. The canopy closes overhead, not oppressively but protectively, like a shelter welcoming you in from a storm. The path beneath your feet is soft with fallen leaves. They've accumulated here over days and weeks, creating a carpet inches thick, and with each step you take, they crunch and rustle in a way that is deeply, profoundly satisfying. There's something about that sound, about the crisp breaking of dried leaves under your weight, that feels like release, like letting go, like small tensions fracturing and falling away with each footfall. You don't need to rush. There's nowhere you need to be, no schedule to keep, no destination calling to you. The path ahead winds through the trees, disappearing around bends and behind trunks, and you'll follow it simply because it's there, because it invites you forward, because walking feels good after sitting still for so long. Your pace finds its own rhythm, something slower than your usual walk, something that matches the unhurried quality of the forest itself. The trees have been here for decades, some for centuries. They know nothing of hurry. They grow at their own pace, change at their own speed, follow rhythms measured in seasons rather than hours. And as you walk among them, you begin to remember that you too can move at a different pace. That urgency is not your natural state, that your body was designed for this kind of gentle, purposeful movement. The light continues to shift as you go deeper into the woods. Direct sunlight becomes rare, appearing only in shafts that pierce through gaps in the canopy, illuminating floating dust motes and making certain patches of the forest floor glow as if lit from within. Most of the light is filtered, transformed by its passage through thousands of leaves into something softer and more diffuse. This is the kind of light that researchers have found promotes what they call effortless attention, a state where your mind can engage without becoming tired, where you can observe and notice without the strain of concentrated focus. Your eyes don't have to work hard here. They can rest even as they take in the beauty around you, and this visual ease communicates to your entire system that it's safe to relax, that you don't need to be on alert, that you can let your guard down. You notice your breathing has changed. At some point, without any conscious decision, you began to breathe more deeply. Your inhalations reach further into your lungs. Your exhalations last longer, releasing more completely. This is your body's automatic response to the environment, to the cleaner air here, to the oxygen produced by all these trees, to the absence of the stressors that keep your breath shallow and rapid. With each deeper breath, your parasympathetic nervous system engages a little more fully. This is the part of your autonomic nervous system that handles what researchers call the rest and digest response. It's the counterbalance to the fight or flight system that gets activated so often in daily life. Here, with each breath, you're telling your body that there's no threat, no emergency, nothing that requires vigilance or rapid response, and your body listens. Heart rate slows, blood pressure decreases, muscles begin to release their holding patterns, The machinery of stress starts to power down. The path leads you alongside a gentle slope where the ground rises to your left and falls away slightly to your right. Trees of various species surround you, each displaying autumn's transformation in its own way. Oak trees hold leaves that have turned to shades of brown and russet, their edges curled slightly, their stems still clinging tenaciously to branches, even as the tree prepares to let them go. Maple trees show more dramatic color, their leaves brilliant in reds and oranges, as if they've decided to go out in a blaze of glory rather than fade quietly. There are birch trees too, their white bark peeling in delicate strips, their leaves a bright buttery yellow that seems to glow even in the filtered light. You understand, perhaps in an abstract way, that you're witnessing the result of remarkable biological processes. As autumn progresses and days grow shorter, these trees have been systematically withdrawing chlorophyll from their leaves, breaking down that green pigment and reabsorbing its valuable nutrients. The trees are preparing for winter, for the dormant months ahead when photosynthesis will cease, and survival will depend on stored resources. As the green fades, other pigments that were always present but hidden emerge. Carotenoids reveal themselves in yellows and oranges. Anthocyanins are produced in response to bright autumn days, creating reds and purples. What you're seeing is both an ending and a preparation for renewal. The trees are not dying, they're transforming, adapting, demonstrating the wisdom of knowing when to hold on and when to let go. There's something profound in this witnessing, something your rational mind might try to articulate, but your deeper self simply feels. These trees are teaching a lesson about cycles and seasons, about the natural rhythm of activity and rest, about the necessity of periods of dormancy for long-term health and growth. You too have seasons. You too need times of release and retreat, moments when you pull your energy inward, when you conserve and restore rather than produce and perform. Perhaps that's why autumn feels so poignant, so emotionally resonant. It's a reminder that rest is not weakness, but wisdom, that letting go is not loss, but preparation, that dormancy is the necessary prelude to spring's renewal. Your feet continue their steady rhythm on the leaf-covered path. The sound has become almost meditative in its consistency. Crunch, rustle, crunch, rustle. Each step breaks dozens of leaves, their dried structures giving way with small snapping sounds that vary in pitch and tone depending on the leaf's size and moisture content and how many other leaves cushion the impact. If you pay close attention, you can hear variations you didn't notice before. Some leaves are crispy and produce a high-pitched crackle. Others are more leathery and create a deeper, rustling whisper. Still others have retained enough moisture to bend rather than break, making almost no sound at all except a soft compression as your weight presses them down. This attention to small sounds, this noticing of subtle variations, is part of what makes time in nature so restorative. Your mind has something to attend to, but it's not demanding or stressful. There's no problem to solve in the sound of leaves underfoot. There's no correct interpretation, no test you could fail. You can simply notice, simply be with the experience. And in this simple noticing, your mind finds a kind of occupation that doesn't deplete, but actually replenishes. Researchers call this soft fascination, and studies have shown it's one of the key mechanisms through which natural environments restore our capacity for focused attention. By giving your mind something mildly interesting to engage with, these natural elements allow the neural mechanisms responsible for directed attention to rest and recover. The forest floor itself deserves attention too. It's not uniform or monotonous, but rather a complex landscape in miniature. The thick carpet of leaves covers most of the ground, yes, but not all of it. Here and there, patches of moss grow in vivid green, their soft dampness persisting even as autumn dries the fallen leaves. Small fungi push up through the leaf litter in surprising places, their caps ranging from pure white to deep brown, some smooth and others textured, each one a small world of its own. Exposed roots cross the path occasionally, gnarled and thick, anchoring their trees to the earth with a grip that has held firm through decades of storms and seasons. Stones peek through in places, worn smooth by time and weather, cool to the touch when you occasionally steady yourself with a hand on one as you navigate a slightly steeper section of the path. Your attention naturally expands beyond the ground to take in more of your surroundings. The tree trunks around you are monuments to patience and endurance. Each one bears the marks of its years. Rough bark tells stories of growth and survival. Some trees show old scars where branches once grew and then fell away, the wound long since sealed by new growth. Others have hollows where rot has created cavities that now serve as homes for insects and small mammals. Lichen decorates many trunks in intricate patterns. These symbiotic partnerships of fungi and algae creating their own small ecosystems on the bark surface. In certain lights, these lichen patches seem almost fluorescent in their colors, bright greens and yellows and even orange, a startling contrast to the brown and gray bark they inhabit. You pause for a moment and rest your palm against one of these trunks, feeling its solidity, its realness, its patient existence. The bark is cool against your skin and rough in texture, with deep grooves and raised ridges that create a complex topography under your fingers. This tree has stood here for longer than you've been alive. It will likely stand here long after you're gone. It doesn't worry about time passing. It doesn't regret yesterday or fear tomorrow. It simply exists, drawing water and nutrients from soil, lifting them through its trunk to feed its leaves, photosynthesizing sunlight into energy, breathing out oxygen as a byproduct of its life processes. In this moment, with your hand against its bark, you're connected to this ancient rhythm, this patient persistence, and something in you quiets in response. You resume walking, but something has shifted. The contact with the tree, brief as it was, has deepened your sense of presence here. You're not just in the forest, you're with it, you're part of it. The boundaries between yourself and your surroundings feel less rigid, less defined. The air you breathe has just been breathed out by these trees. The ground you walk on is made partly of the decayed matter of countless leaves and branches that fell in seasons past, returning their substance to the earth to feed new growth. You are not separate from any of this. You are a participant and witness both, walking through a living system that includes you, even as you move through it. The wind picks up slightly, and you hear a sound that begins in the canopy overhead and moves through the forest like a wave. It's the collective voice of thousands of leaves still attached to their branches, rustling and shaking in response to the breeze. This is not one sound, but many, layered and complex. The dry, papery leaves of the oaks rattle against each other with a sound like shuffling papers. The more supple maple leaves flutter and whisper. The smaller birch leaves tremble and chitter. Together they create a kind of music, a forest song that has no composer, but emerges naturally from the interaction of wind and tree. An improvisation that will never be repeated exactly, but that follows patterns as old as forests themselves. This sound does something to you. It's not just pleasant to hear, though it is that. It actively soothes something in your nervous system. Researchers studying the effects of natural sounds on human physiology have found that sounds like rustling leaves, flowing water, and bird songs can actually lower heart rate, reduce muscle tension, and decrease levels of cortisol, the stress hormone. Your body recognizes these sounds at a level below conscious thought. For the vast majority of human history, these were the sounds of safety, of home, of environments where survival was possible. The absence of these sounds, and their replacement with the constant mechanical noise of modern life, creates a subtle but persistent stress that most people don't even recognize until they experience its absence. Here, surrounded by these ancient, familiar sounds, your body remembers what it's like to exist without that background stress. The constant low-level tension that you carry as a default state begins to dissolve. You didn't even know you were holding it until you feel it starting to let go. Your shoulders drop another fraction of an inch. The muscles in your neck soften. Your jaw, which has been clenched on and off all day without you noticing, finally releases completely. Even your thoughts seem to slow down. The constant internal chatter that narrates and judges and plans and worries growing quieter, less insistent, as if it too recognizes that here, in this place, such vigilance is not needed. The path curves gently, and you follow it around a massive old oak tree, its trunk so wide that it would take several people joining hands to circle it. On the far side of the curve, the forest opens up slightly. The canopy is less dense here, allowing more light to reach the ground. And in response, the undergrowth is thicker. Ferns grow in clusters, their fronds still green despite the season, their delicate structure creating patterns of shadow on shadow. Small wildflowers that bloom late in the year dot the space with subtle color, whites and pale purples that seem luminous in the dimmer forest light. A fallen log, covered entirely in moss, serves as a raised garden where tiny plants have taken root, creating a miniature ecosystem elevated above the forest floor. This opening in the forest has a different quality than the denser sections you've been walking through. The increased light brings warmth, a pocket of retained heat that makes you pause and simply stand, letting the sun touch your face. You close your eyes for a moment, just feeling the warmth on your skin, the cool air surrounding you, the contrast between the two, the gentle pressure of the breeze, the sounds all around you, no longer needing to be analyzed or identified, just present, just there, an aural environment that holds you as surely as the earth beneath your feet. With your eyes closed, your other senses intensify. The smell of the forest grows stronger, or perhaps you're just noticing it more fully. It's the scent of life in all its stages. Fresh growth and slow decay exist side by side here, each feeding the other in an eternal cycle. The sharp, clean smell of pine sap from a nearby evergreen, the earthy, mushroomy scent of decomposition from the forest floor, the slightly sweet aroma of dried leaves still hanging on branches, the complex fragrance of bark and wood and sap and rain memory and time itself, if time had a smell, which here it seems to, a kind of deep, patient, organic presence that speaks of years and seasons and the slow, sure work of growth and change. You open your eyes again, and for a moment, everything seems more vivid, more alive, more present than it did before. Colors are deeper, the interplay of light and shadow more pronounced. You notice details you missed earlier. The way a spider web stretches between two shrubs, so delicate it's almost invisible except where dewdrops cling to it, turning it into a string of tiny jewels. The intricate pattern of veins in a leaf that's still partially green, the chlorophyll lingering in a network of lines while the rest of the leaf has turned yellow. The way certain tree trunks catch the light on one side while remaining in deep shadow on the other, creating a dramatic contrast that emphasizes their three-dimensional form, their solid presence in space. You realize you've been standing still for several minutes now, simply looking, simply being. There's no discomfort in this stillness, no itchy restlessness demanding you move on. Your body is content to stand. Your mind is content to observe without commentary. You've slipped into a state that meditation teachers spend years helping people achieve, but here it's arrived naturally, without effort, simply through the act of being present in this environment. Your thoughts haven't disappeared. That's not what peace is. But they've become quieter, less urgent, more like clouds drifting across a sky than a storm demanding your attention. You can let them come and go without needing to engage with each one, without needing to solve or analyze or remember or plan. After a time that might be 2 minutes or 20, you couldn't say which, and it doesn't matter, you begin walking again. Your pace is even slower now, each step deliberate, conscious, part of a kind of walking meditation you're not deliberately practicing, but that has emerged organically from your growing sense of presence and connection. You notice how your foot lifts, moves forward, comes down, how your weight shifts from heel to toe with each step, how your arms swing naturally, counterbalancing your leg movements, how your spine stays relatively stable while your pelvis rotates slightly with each stride. Your body is a marvel of engineering, capable of this smooth, efficient locomotion that carries you through the world, and usually you take it so completely for granted that you never think about it. But here, now, you can feel gratitude for this functioning, for this body that carries you, that allows you to be here, that is experiencing all of this. The path begins to descend slightly, dropping down into a small hollow where the air is even cooler and slightly more humid. The ground here retains moisture better, protected from direct sun and wind. The vegetation reflects this. More moss, more ferns. The leaves underfoot are damper, less crispy, producing a softer sound as you walk through them. You can smell water nearby, though you can't see it yet. A freshness in the air that speaks of a stream or small creek flowing through this hollow. A few more steps and you find it. A narrow stream, barely 3 feet across, flowing over smooth stones and around exposed roots. Its water so clear you can see every detail of the streambed beneath its surface. The water isn't deep, perhaps only a few inches in most places, but it flows steadily, persistently, following the path of least resistance downhill, moving around obstacles without effort or complaint. The sound it makes is gentle, a soft burbling and trickling that adds another layer to the forest's soundscape, a liquid accompaniment to the rustling of leaves and the whisper of wind. You crouch down beside the stream, bringing yourself closer to this flowing presence. Up close, you can see the water even more clearly. Small, smooth pebbles of various colors, gray and brown and tan, and occasional flecks of quartz that sparkle when light hits them just right. Tiny particles of organic matter suspended in the flow, barely visible. The way the water creates small ripples and eddies around each obstruction, miniature rapids in this miniature river. You reach out and let your fingers trail in the water. It's cold, noticeably colder than the air. Cold enough to be startling, but not so cold it's unpleasant. The sensation is vivid, immediate, grounding. It reminds you that you have a body, that you are a physical presence in a physical world, not just a mind floating through abstract space. You cup your hand and lift a palmful of water, watching it glitter in the filtered sunlight, watching it drain through the gaps between your fingers back to join the stream. This water has been on a journey. It fell as rain somewhere upstream, days or weeks ago. It soaked into the ground, filtered through layers of soil and rock, emerged in a spring or seep higher up the slope, began its flow downhill, joining with other water from other sources, growing from trickle to stream to creek to river to eventually the sea, where it will evaporate and begin the cycle again. In this moment, passing through your hand, it's just pausing briefly in a journey that has no beginning and no end, part of a cycle as old as the earth itself. The stream provides a natural place to rest. A flat stone juts out slightly over the water, creating a kind of seat where you can sit comfortably and watch the flow. You settle yourself there, adjusting your position until you're stable and comfortable, and then you simply sit, simply watch, simply listen to the water's endless conversation with stone and root and air. There's something hypnotic about flowing water. Your eyes can follow it without effort. Your mind can rest on it without being called away. Time does that strange thing it does in moments of deep presence, becoming both slower and faster simultaneously. Each second is extended rich with detail and experience, but also they string together and flow past like the water itself unnoticed in their passing, until you realize you've been sitting here for a while and you have no idea how long, and it doesn't matter. Your breathing has synchronized with the rhythm of the water without you trying or noticing. Deep, slow breaths that match the steady flow. Your heart rate has slowed too, settling into a peaceful cadence that allows more time between beats. More rest built into each cycle of pump and fill, pump and fill. Every system in your body is downshifting, powering down from the high alert state that modern life so often demands. Your parasympathetic nervous system has fully engaged now. This is not something you can force or fake. It's an automatic response, a gift your body gives itself when it finally receives the message that safety is present, that rest is permitted, that nothing requires vigilance or immediate action. In this state, actual healing occurs. Not metaphorically, literally. When the parasympathetic system is dominant, your body directs resources toward repair and maintenance. Digestion improves, immune function strengthens, cellular regeneration proceeds more efficiently, inflammation markers decrease, stress hormones drop while feel-good neurochemicals increase. Your body is incredibly intelligent. Given half a chance, given an environment that supports rest and recovery, it knows exactly what to do. It's designed for this. For millions of years, human bodies have been responding to natural environments in this way, recognizing them as places of safety and provision, places where deep restoration is possible. A bird calls from somewhere overhead, a melodic phrase that rings out clearly in the quiet. You look up, trying to locate the source of the song, but the canopy is too dense here and the bird remains hidden. That's okay. You don't need to identify it or see it. You can just receive its song as a gift, as part of the forest's offering. Another bird answers from a different direction, a different species with a different song, and for a moment it's as if the forest itself is speaking, using these birds as its voice, welcoming you, acknowledging your presence, singing you deeper into peace. You notice that your body has become heavy in the most pleasant way, not the heavy of exhaustion or illness, but the heavy of complete relaxation, of muscles finally releasing tension they've been holding for so long, they forgot they were holding it. Your limbs feel weighted, comfortable, settled into place without needing to move. Your head is balanced easily on your neck without effort. Your jaw hangs slightly open, no longer clenched. Your forehead is smooth, no longer furrowed. Even your eyes feel heavy, lids drooping slightly, not quite closed, but not fully open either, resting in that drowsy state between waking and sleeping. The light is beginning to change. You haven't been paying attention to time, but the sun has continued its arc across the sky while you've been here, and now it's lower, angling toward the horizon. The quality of light in the forest shifts in response. The golden glow that was warm and bright earlier has mellowed to something richer, deeper, more amber than gold. The shadows have lengthened, stretching out from the base of every tree, creating long dark fingers that reach across the forest floor. Where light does penetrate the canopy, it seems thicker now, almost tangible, filled with visible particles of dust and pollen that float and drift in the beams like slow-motion snow. This shift in light does something to your internal systems. Your eyes receive this information about decreasing light levels and transmit it to your brain, specifically to a tiny region called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. This master clock of your body reads the message about dimming light and begins to orchestrate a cascade of changes throughout your system. It signals the pineal gland to begin producing melatonin, the hormone that promotes sleep. Your body temperature begins its natural evening decline, dropping by a degree or so as part of the preparation for rest. Your digestion slows. Your blood pressure decreases slightly. Everything in you is receiving the same message that the forest is receiving. Day is ending. Night is approaching. It's time to prepare for rest and restoration. You stand slowly from your seat by the stream, taking your time, letting your body adjust to the change in position. There's no stiffness, despite how long you've been sitting. Your muscles are warm and loose, pliable in a way they haven't been for days, maybe weeks. You stretch gently, reaching your arms overhead, feeling your spine elongate, and the stretch feels wonderful, releasing something you didn't know needed releasing. You roll your shoulders, rotate your head slowly on your neck, and each movement is easy, fluid, unencumbered by the tension that usually restricts your range of motion. The path continues beyond the stream, and you find yourself following it, not because you have to, but because moving feels good, because there's still more forest to experience, still more peace to be found. You step across the stream at a narrow point where stones provide easy crossing places, and on the other side, the path begins to climb again, rising back out of the hollow and into slightly drier terrain. Your legs handle the gentle climb without strain. Your breathing deepens slightly with the effort but remains easy, unlabored. Your heart rate increases just enough to pump blood where it's needed, but you remain well within the aerobic zone, never pushing, never straining, just moving at a pace that feels sustainable and right. As you climb, you notice how the forest changes with the elevation. The undergrowth thins out. The trees are spaced a bit further apart. The leaf litter is deeper here because there's less decomposition happening without the moisture of the hollow. Each step makes more sound, a more pronounced crunch as layers of dry leaves compress under your weight. It's like walking through cornflakes, and the thought makes you smile slightly. This comparison between the forest floor and breakfast cereal, absurd and yet apt in its way. At the top of the gentle rise, the forest opens into a glade, a space perhaps 30 feet across where no large trees grow. The canopy pulls back here, creating a dome of sky overhead that's turning colors as evening progresses. The blue of day is giving way to softer hues, pale yellows and pinks gathering at the horizon where the sun is making its gradual descent. In the center of the glade grows a solitary oak, not as massive as some you've passed, but beautifully formed, its branches spreading in a balanced, symmetrical pattern that speaks of good growing conditions and no competition for light. The ground around this tree is carpeted with leaves that have fallen from its branches, creating a circular pool of copper and brown that looks soft and inviting. You approach this central tree as if drawn to it, as if this has been your destination all along, even though you didn't know it when you started walking. Up close, you can see that someone, at some point in the past, positioned several large flat stones around the base of the trunk, creating natural seats. The stones have been here long enough to have moss growing on their north sides, long enough to have settled into the earth as if they belong here, as if they've always been part of this place. You choose one of these stones, running your hand over its surface first, feeling how the day's sun has warmed it, stored heat in its mass, that it's now slowly releasing as the air cools. You sit, arranging yourself so your back can rest against the trunk of the oak. The bark presses against your spine, firm and supportive, slightly rough even through your clothing. You can feel the solidity of this tree, its rootedness, its connection to the earth below and the sky above. Trees spend their entire lives in one place. They can't move, can't flee from storms or drought or fire. They survive through resilience, through deep roots that anchor them and draw up water and nutrients, through flexible branches that bend in the wind, rather than breaking through bark that protects them and rings of growth that tell the story of every year they've lived. Sitting here, leaning against this living monument to patience and endurance, you can almost feel those qualities transferring to you, can almost absorb some of that steadfast calm that allows a tree to stand through decades of seasons without complaint or resistance. The stone beneath you and the tree at your back create a kind of cradle, holding you securely. You don't need to work to sit upright. The support is there, and you can simply allow yourself to be held. Your head tips back slightly, resting against the trunk, and from this position, you can look up through the branches of the oak to the sky beyond. The tree's architecture is revealed from this angle, the way the main trunk divides into major branches, how those branches divide into smaller ones and those into twigs, creating a fractal pattern that repeats at every scale, a natural geometry that mathematicians and artists have studied for centuries and still find endlessly fascinating. Against the lightening sky, each branch and twig is rendered in silhouette, stark black outlines that create an intricate lacework overhead. A few leaves still cling to these branches, holdouts that haven't yet released their grip, and they stand out as shapes slightly denser than the empty spaces around them. As you watch, a breeze moves through the canopy, and one leaf finally lets go. You watch its descent, the way it doesn't fall straight down but rather drifts and twirls, dancing with the air, taking its time on the journey from branch to ground. It lands somewhere off to your left with the softest whisper of contact joining the thousands of leaves that have already fallen, becoming part of the cycle that will eventually turn it into soil that will feed this very tree's roots next spring. There's a lesson in that falling leaf, though you don't try to articulate it or analyze it. You just feel it, somewhere deep in your chest, a recognition of something true. Letting go. The wisdom of knowing when to release. The trust required to detach from what has supported you and fall toward something unknown, trusting that the landing will come, that the earth will receive you, that this ending is also a transformation. Your own life is full of things you hold on to past their time, isn't it? Jobs, relationships, beliefs about yourself, habits, grudges, fears, ambitions that no longer serve you. All of them clung to as tightly as a leaf to its branch, even when holding on takes more energy than letting go would require. But here, in this moment, in this glade, with your back against this patient tree and your body finally, deeply at rest, you can feel your own grip loosening, not on everything at once, not dramatically or with great fanfare, just a subtle softening, a gentle opening, a recognition that perhaps you don't need to hold quite so tightly. Perhaps you can trust the process of seasons and cycles. Perhaps you can let some things fall away, knowing that in their decomposition they'll feed whatever comes next, that nothing is wasted in nature's economy, that even endings serve beginnings. The sky continues its color change overhead, the pale yellows and pinks deepening to peach and rose and the first hints of lavender. You've seen countless sunsets in your life, but this one feels different, feels special somehow maybe, because you're actually present for it. Actually watching, actually here, rather than distracted by screens or thoughts or the momentum of doing that usually carries you through your days without pause. The beauty of the changing sky fills you with something you don't have words for, some emotion that's part gratitude and part wonder and part sorrow at how often you miss this, how often beauty unfolds all around you, and you're too busy or too tired or too preoccupied to notice. The birds are very active now, calling back and forth as they settle in for the night, choosing their roosting spots, singing their evening songs. You can distinguish several different voices in the chorus. A cardinal with its sharp chip-chip, a chickadee with its dee-dee-dee, others you can't identify but that add their voices to the collective evening prayer. It occurs to you that you're witnessing a ritual as old as birds themselves. This daily transition from activity to rest. This acknowledgement of day's end and night's beginning. Every creature that lives experiences this rhythm, this oscillation between waking and sleeping, doing and being, yang and yin. It's built into the fabric of existence on a rotating planet, this play of light and dark, activity and rest. And yet somehow, in your modern life, you've come to see rest as optional, as something to be minimized, as a necessary evil that steals time from productivity. What a strange inversion of natural law that is. What a departure from the wisdom written into the very structure of days and nights. Your eyelids are heavy now, heavier than before, weighted with more than just the physical relaxation that's been building. There's an emotional weight too, a fullness, as if something that's been empty for a long time has finally been filled. Peace has a weight, you discover. Contentment has substance. These are not hollow states, but rather rich, full ones, and they make your body feel dense and settled, rooted like the tree at your back, unlikely to be moved by anything short of a hurricane. The temperature is dropping more noticeably now as the sun nears the horizon. The warmth that lingered in the air all afternoon is draining away, flowing down into the cooling earth, leaving behind a crispness that makes you aware of your skin, of the boundary between your body and the environment. It's not uncomfortably cold. You're dressed adequately, and the exertion of walking has kept your core warm. But there's a pleasant coolness on your face, on your hands, that wakes you up even as everything else about this experience is encouraging you toward sleep. This is one of nature's contradictions, one of the paradoxes that makes outdoor experience so rich. The cool air stimulates and refreshes even as the overall environment soothes and calms, and somehow both things are true at once. And somehow your body integrates these seemingly opposite messages into a single coherent state that is both alert and relaxed, both present and drifting. A rustling in the underbrush at the edge of the glade catches your attention. You don't move, don't startle. Just let your eyes track toward the source of the sound. A small rabbit emerges from the ferns, its gray-brown fur blending almost perfectly with the forest floor. It hops a few feet into the open, pauses, sits up on its haunches with ears erect, nose twitching as it samples the air. It's aware of you, you can tell, but you're so still, so calm, so much at peace that you don't register as a threat. The rabbit seems to consider for a moment, then dismisses you as unimportant and continues its evening browsing, hopping from one patch of vegetation to another, nibbling on various plants with the serious focus of a creature whose survival depends on eating enough before dark. You watch the rabbit with a kind of tender attention, grateful for its presence, for this glimpse into its world. It's so thoroughly itself, so completely unconcerned with anything except the immediate necessities of its existence. Find food, stay alert, survive another day. There's no angst in it, no existential worry, no rumination about the meaning of rabbit life. It simply is, simply does what rabbits do, and there's a kind of freedom in that simplicity that you can feel even if you can't fully access it. Your human consciousness, with all its gifts and burdens, doesn't allow for that kind of pure presence. But you can appreciate it. You can recognize it as something valuable, something your overly complex mind occasionally glimpses and longs for. After a few minutes of browsing, the rabbit seems to sense that darkness is approaching. It hops back toward the edge of the glade, pauses once more to look around, and then disappears into the underbrush with a final flash of its white tail. The glade feels emptier after its departure, but also more quiet, more settled, as if the rabbit's activity was the last bit of day's business, and now evening can truly begin. The first star appears in the deepening blue overhead. Not a star actually, but a planet, probably Venus, bright enough to show up while the sky still holds considerable light. You make the wish that tradition calls for. First star I see tonight. Though what you wish for is so simple it's almost embarrassing. You wish for more of this. More peace, more presence. More moments when you're genuinely here instead of caught in the endless loop of thinking and planning and remembering and worrying. More evenings when you let yourself stop. Let yourself rest. Let yourself simply be a creature among creatures on a turning planet under an emerging field of stars. The wind has died down almost completely. The rustling that has been a constant companion throughout your walk has faded to occasional whispers, brief movements when a gust finds its way through the trees. The forest is settling, drawing inward, preparing for night. You can feel this settling in your own body, a deep internal quieting that has nothing to do with silence, and everything to do with the kind of peace that runs deeper than sound or the absence of sound. This is cellular peace, the calm of a body that has received what it needed, that has been held and soothed and allowed to discharge the tensions that accumulated through days and weeks of insufficient rest. Your mind has become very quiet. The thoughts that normally stream through in an endless river have slowed to occasional eddies, gentle swirls that form and dissolve without gaining momentum. You're not trying to stop thinking. That would be effort, and effort is the opposite of where you are. You're simply finding that thoughts seem less interesting now, less important, less worthy of attention than the direct experience of sitting here, leaning against this tree, watching the sky darken and the stars emerge one by one. More stars appear, and then more, as if someone is slowly turning up a dimmer switch on the universe. The sky transitions from blue to indigo to a deep purple that holds the last memory of day. The stars don't twinkle yet. That twinkling comes later, when the night is fully dark and the atmosphere's variations in density become more pronounced. Now they simply shine. Steady points of light that have been traveling toward Earth for years, decades, centuries. Their light finally arriving here at this moment to touch your eyes and remind you that you are part of something vastly larger than yourself. Something so big and old and mysterious that all human concerns shrink to their proper proportion, which is to say, very small indeed. The oak tree at your back is solid and real and present. The stone beneath you is cool now, having released its stored warmth to the evening air. Your body is heavy and relaxed and comfortable despite the hardness of your seat. You realize you could sit here all night if you chose to, that your body would accommodate this stillness, that it has dropped so deeply into rest, that the usual discomforts of prolonged sitting simply are on arising. But you also recognize that there's a next step, a final transition still to be made. You've come on this journey through the forest to find peace, and you've found it. You've come to release the day's tensions, and they've been released. Now it's time to complete the journey, to make your way toward actual sleep, toward the deep restorative unconsciousness that your body and mind need to fully recover and renew. With reluctance, but also with a sense of rightness, you slowly push yourself up from the stone. The movement takes effort at first, not because you're stiff, but because you're so relaxed that motivating your muscles to contract requires a conscious decision. But you stand, and once you're standing, you feel steady and balanced, grounded in a way you weren't when you first arrived at the forest. You place your hand on the oak's trunk one more time, a gesture of gratitude, a thank you to this tree for its support, for its patient presence, for the way it has held you and sheltered you and allowed you to rest against its strength. The path back will be walked in near darkness, but that doesn't concern you. The way is not difficult, and your eyes have been adjusting to the dimming light gradually, allowing your night vision to develop. More importantly, you trust the path now. You know it will guide you back the way you came, retracing your steps through the forest toward the place where the woods meet the world you left behind. That world is still there, waiting for you. The obligations haven't disappeared. The challenges haven't vanished. But you're returning to them changed, softened, reminded of something essential that you'd forgotten. You begin walking, and immediately you notice how different the forest feels in near darkness. Shapes that were clear earlier are now mysterious. Shadows upon shadows. The distinction between tree and space and ground less defined. This doesn't frighten you. If anything, it deepens the peace you feel. This slight disorientation, this necessary trust in your feet, and the path and the forest's benevolence. Your other senses compensate for the reduced visual information. Your hearing becomes more acute, picking up small sounds you might have missed earlier. The soft hoot of an owl somewhere in the distance. The scurrying of some small nocturnal creature beginning its night's activities. The creak of branches adjusting to the temperature change. Your sense of smell intensifies too. The forest at night smells different than it does during the day. The cooling air bringing different molecules to your nose, releasing scents that heat had locked away. There's something almost sweet in the air now. A plant smell you can't identify, but that reminds you of gardens and growth and green things thriving in the dark. There's the continued scent of earth and leaf decay, that fundamental forest smell that's been with you all along. And underneath everything, the faint mineral smell of the stream you crossed earlier, its presence registered even at this distance. Your pace is slow, partly from the limited visibility, but mostly from a reluctance to hurry, to rush this final phase of the experience. Each step is placed deliberately, with attention and care, continuing the walking meditation that began earlier. You're aware of your body moving through space, aware of the play of muscles and joints that make this movement possible, aware of your breath supporting the effort, aware of how integrated and whole you feel body and mind working together, instead of being separate entities barely on speaking terms. The path descends slightly, and you remember climbing up to reach the glade. So this descent makes sense, confirms you're going the right direction. The trees close in overhead again as you leave the open space behind, and the darkness deepens further. But you're not alone. The forest is alive with nocturnal activity, creatures for whom this is morning, who have slept through the day and are now beginning their work of hunting and foraging and finding mates and defending territory. You're passing through their world now, a visitor to the night shift, and they tolerate your presence with the same patience the forest showed you earlier. You become aware that you're becoming drowsy, genuinely sleepy, in a way that's different from mere relaxation. Your body has released all its tension. Your mind has quieted to the point where thought seems optional. The melatonin that started being produced when the light began to fade has accumulated in your bloodstream, binding to receptors throughout your brain and body, creating a gentle but insistent pressure towards sleep. Your eyelids want to close. Your head wants to drop. Your whole being wants to stop moving and curl up and surrender to unconsciousness. This is exactly what you hoped for when you began this journey, exactly what you needed, this genuine readiness for sleep that comes not from exhaustion, but from true restoration, from a nervous system that has finally powered down from high alert to rest mode. The path levels out, and you sense rather than see that you're back in the hollow where the stream runs. You can hear the water, that gentle burbling that greeted you hours ago. You pause, considering whether to visit it one more time, but decide against it. Forward momentum, what little remains, should carry you out of the forest, back to your starting point, and from there to bed, to actual sleep, to the final surrender. You continue on, crossing the stream by memory and luck, and a trust that's been earned through the hours you've spent here. The path climbs again out of the hollow, and this is the last real effort required. Your legs respond, carrying you up the gentle slope with reserves of strength you didn't know you still possessed. At the top, you know from memory that the forest will begin to thin, that you're approaching the boundary between woods and the world beyond. Part of you wants to turn back, to spend the night here, to never leave this peaceful sanctuary. But a wiser part knows that the forest's gift isn't meant to be hoarded or clung to. The gift is this temporary refuge that has restored you, and restoration is meant to prepare you to return, to re-engage, to bring this peace back with you into your life. And there, ahead, you can see the thinning of trees, the opening of sky, the slight glow of ambient light from the world you left behind. You're almost there, almost at the threshold you crossed so many hours ago. A few more steps, and you're standing at the edge of the forest in the space between the last trees and open ground, looking back at the dark mass of woods that welcomed you and held you, and healed something in you that needed healing. You don't say goodbye. It would feel wrong somehow, too final, too much like ending. Instead, You simply acknowledge with a nod, with a feeling of gratitude too deep for words, what has passed between you and this place. Then you turn and step out of the forest, crossing back into the world of paths and structures and electric lights. But you're not the same person who entered the woods earlier. Something has shifted, something has settled, something that was frantic has calmed, something that was lost has been found. The walk from the forest edge to your bed is short. Time does another one of its tricks, compressing, folding, so that you can barely remember the journey from forest to front door, from doorway to bedroom. But here you are, in your sleeping space, and the bed looks impossibly inviting, a nest of softness and comfort waiting to receive you. You prepare for sleep with minimal fuss, the routine actions of getting ready for bed performed on autopilot, while your mind holds the memories of the forest, the images and sounds and smells that you want to carry with you into dreams. You slip between the sheets, and the cool fabric against your skin is almost as shocking as the forest stream was against your fingers. But the shock is pleasant, welcome, another sensation to notice and appreciate before letting it go. You arrange yourself in your most comfortable sleeping position, the one your body finds without thought. And as soon as you settle, you feel the weight return, that delicious heavy feeling of deep relaxation, of a body that knows sleep is imminent and is already beginning to surrender. Your eyes close, and behind your lids you see the forest again, not in visual detail but in felt sense, in the memory of peace, in the echo of rustling leaves and flowing water and bird song. You see the path winding through autumn trees. You see the glade with its central oak. You see leaves falling in their graceful spiral dance. You see the sky deepening through shades of blue to purple to star-studded black. And you feel the support of the tree at your back, the solidity of stone beneath you, the embrace of the forest all around. Your breath slows further, each inhalation gentle and effortless, each exhalation long and complete. The space between breaths grows longer, and in that space is a kind of peace that has no opposite, that exists independent of circumstance, that is simply the ground state of being when everything else falls away. Your heart beats slowly, steadily, a patient rhythm that requires no attention, no maintenance, just the automatic fidelity of a muscle that has been beating since before you were born and will beat until the day you die, asking nothing in return except the oxygen and nutrients your breath and blood provide. Your body is sinking into the mattress, or perhaps the mattress is rising up to meet you, the distinction no longer clear or important. Support is support, whether from stone and tree or memory foam and cotton. What matters is the feeling of being held, of not having to hold yourself up, of being able to let go completely and trust that you won't fall because you're already lying down, already in the position of ultimate vulnerability and ultimate rest. Your mind is releasing its last thoughts, and they drift away like leaves on a stream, floating past without need for engagement or response. Thoughts about tomorrow, about yesterday, about people and plans and problems, all of them fading, growing quieter, losing their urgency and importance. They're still there, technically, the way the furniture in your room is still there, even though you can't see it with your eyes closed. But they're not demanding anything. They're just background, just part of the environment, and you don't have to pay attention to anything you don't choose to attend to. You're so close now, standing at the threshold between waking and sleeping, just as you stood earlier at the threshold between world and forest. This is another boundary to cross, another transition to make. But this one requires no effort, no decision, no conscious choice. This one happens on its own. A surrender so complete that you can't force it, can only allow it, can only soften and release and trust that sleep will come when you're ready. And you're ready now. So ready, more ready than you've been in weeks or months. Your body and mind finally aligned in their need for rest. Finally in agreement that nothing else matters in this moment except letting go. The forest is with you still. You carry it inside now. Carry its peace, its patience, its ancient rhythms. The rustling of leaves becomes the sound of your own breath moving in and out, in and out. The flowing stream becomes the flowing blood in your veins, carrying oxygen and life to every cell. The standing trees become your own spine, strong and flexible, rooted and reaching. The falling leaves become your own releasing, your own letting go of what no longer serves, your own trust in the cycle of death and renewal that powers all of existence. And the darkness, the soft darkness of the forest at night, becomes the darkness behind your closed eyelids, the darkness of sleep, the darkness that is not empty but full, not frightening but comforting, not an absence but a presence, a gentle enfolding presence that asks nothing and gives everything, that receives you exactly as you are and holds you through the night. You're drifting now, floating between worlds, between sleeping and waking, between conscious and unconscious, between thinking and not thinking. This liminal space is familiar somehow, even though you're rarely aware of passing through it. This is where dreams are born, where the boundaries between possible and impossible blur, where the rules that govern waking life relax their hold and anything can happen, anything can be. The last thing you're aware of before sleep takes you completely is a feeling of gratitude so profound it's almost painful in its intensity. Gratitude for this day that's ending. Gratitude for this body that carries you. Gratitude for this mind that, for all its chaos and complexity, is capable of moments of perfect peace. Gratitude for the forest that held you. Gratitude for the earth that supports the forest. Gratitude for the sun that feeds the earth. Gratitude for the universe that births suns. Gratitude for whatever mystery allows any of this to exist at all. The improbable, impossible fact of existence itself, of consciousness, of life, of this moment, this breath, this heartbeat. And then even gratitude fades, becomes too much, requires too much effort to maintain. And there is just the fading, the drifting, the dissolving of boundaries between self and not self, between you and the world, between awareness and the absence of awareness. There is just the letting go, the final surrender, the release into sleep so complete that you don't even know it's happening. Can't mark the moment of transition. Can't say when you stopped being awake and started being asleep. You are breathing. The forest is breathing. The earth is breathing. Everything is breathing together, in and out, in and out. One great breath that includes all smaller breaths. One great rhythm that includes all smaller rhythms. And you are part of it, have always been part of it. Could never be separate from it even when you feel most alone, most cut off, most isolated from the web of connection that holds all things. Sleep comes like night came to the forest, gradually, inevitably, bringing with it the promise of rest, of healing, of renewal. And tomorrow, after this night of deep restorative sleep, after dreams that process and integrate the experiences of the day, after hours of true rest, you will wake again. And the challenges will still be there, the obligations will still be there, the complexity of life will still be there. But you will be different. You will carry something with you, some echo of the forest, some memory of peace, some proof that rest is possible, that letting go is possible, that you can return again and again to that place of deep quiet whenever you need to, whether by walking into actual woods or by closing your eyes and remembering what peace feels like. But that's tomorrow's knowing. For now, for this moment, there is only this: the darkness, the quiet, the breath moving in and out, the heart beating its patient rhythm, the body held by the bed, the mind releasing thought, the self dissolving into sleep. There is only this perfect surrender, this complete letting go, this trust in the process of sleep and dreams and the night's restorative work. You are safe. You are held. You are allowed to rest. Everything you need to do can wait for tomorrow. Everyone you need to be can wait for tomorrow. For now, you are simply this: a breathing creature, a resting body, a quiet mind, a person sleeping, going deeper, deeper into rest, deeper into peace, deeper into the healing darkness that asks nothing and gives everything. The autumn woods whisper their good night. The leaves rustle one last time in memory. The stream flows on in its endless patient way. The trees stand guard through the night. And you sleep, finally sleep, deeply sleep, completely sleep. Sleep that restores and renews and makes all things possible again. Sleep now. Let go now. Rest now. The forest is with you. The peace is within you. The new day will come when it comes. But for now, there is only this moment, this breath, this heartbeat, this sleep, this rest, this perfect, complete, healing rest. Sleep. If this story resonated with you, if these words guided you toward the peace you were seeking, please consider showing your support with a like, and subscribe to Deep Sleep Stories Hub for more quiet nights and restful journeys into sleep.